Got to give me a word that I. Okay. All right.
Jane from Russia. Take it away.
Jane, how do you do?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for the movie. I was wondering, how did you approach this story? How did you make this balance between the legend that has already like historical details about this legend, so many versions of this legend, and your own way of storytelling?
Yeah, my principal concern is to do two things. One is to capture the essence of the narrative, the original historical narrative, and simultaneously entertain a contemporary crowd. And that's my challenge. What I'm interested in is creative challenges. To make it as tasty as a ripe mango for a contemporary crowd, but at the same time let there be some real substance in the essence and the meaning.
Mm-hmm. And what were you ready to sacrifice for making this story like from the original legend?
Well, I hope we didn't sacrifice anything. I think what we've done is part of the problem with the narrative itself is trying to put it into trying to force it into a cupcake-sized movie, and what we did was thinned out some of the ingredients, some of the iconic characters like Merlin and Guinevere. We've left them for another time, and just focus on Arthur and his sword and Arthur's ascension.
And talking about the sword, I was thinking yesterday, is it something you added, or it was in one of the legends when the father is turning into the stone? Is it something you?
Yes, it was something. I thought it gave it a ensconced within the narrative, made it more interesting that the stone came from some kind of an origin. I could get into it mystically, of course, which was quite exciting, and we could be here for several hours. But yes, I like the idea that basically life is a revolving wheel of good and bad and good and bad, and in the end it's all good.
It's a movie about, I feel like for me it was a movie about the man, the boy turning into a man, growing into a man, and you showed it beautifully. And we see how he's growing into a man, his father-son relationship, his, the snake moment, the brotherhood. And I was wondering, like, this is how he grows into a man using the magic. He's living in a magical world. But what about real life? How do you feel? How a boy can become a man? What decisions have to be made?
Oh, by the way, it's a very interesting question. I'm glad you didn't ask me what an aardvark was, so I can try and address this. I think what the essence of the narrative is for every man to become independent and find himself within himself. So he starts off as an infant, lost and subject to everyone else's control, and gradually ascending the ladder of adulthood to ultimately reach the position where he's a king over his own life, which it was summarized in a book, Man's Search for Meaning, that there's only the last of man's great freedoms is to choose his attitude towards what happens to him. He can't choose what happens to him, but he can choose his attitude. And I think if a man can choose his attitude that's in his interest, then he can become a king. How's that? Bang, bosh, wonky donkey.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. And the last question about...
There's no more time.
No? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you now.